Hello there guys, Mark here. Hope you guys are doing well. We're back today with another video here in Microsoft Flight Simulator. We're sitting on the ground here at Liverpool. And we are, as you can see, in a beautiful EasyJet Airbus A321neo. So this airplane is the Latinvfr A321neo, but we have the Horizon Simulations mod, I guess you'd call it, installed, which basically merges the Latinvfr model with the brand new fly-by-wire A320neo cockpit. So it makes it a lot more of a joy to fly, and I'm actually enjoying it quite a lot. So I figured I'd make a video with it. So, like I said, on the ground here at Liverpool, we're going to be operating EasyJet Flight 3487 from here in Liverpool down to Salzburg, Austria this morning. It's early in the morning here, sun hasn't come up yet, so it's going to be an early morning departure. Beautiful weather here in Liverpool, and in fact I need to make sure I actually got live weather on just to double check. So I do have live weather on. So we're heading down to Salzburg, and we're expecting some questionable at best weather down there. Some low clouds, some snow showers going on there. If we pop over to Navigraph real quick, current weather conditions there, just light winds out of the north, but limited visibility, light snow, a few clouds, 300 feet, broken clouds at 2,200 feet. So might end up being interesting. There's no TAF for there, no forecast available, so not sure really how that's planning to change throughout the morning, but should hopefully be a relatively interesting approach and landing for us. And we do not have any ILSs available for runway 33. So we're going to be doing one of these RNAV procedures, probably this one right here, the RNAV Yankee. So it's going to be an interesting flight, I believe. Obviously we'll see in flight if the winds were to change direction, or the weather were to warrant that a RNAV approach would not be possible, then we might give a shot on the ILS with a tailwind potentially. So we'll see. But haven't really done anything to set up the airplane here. It's completely cold and dark, so we'll go ahead and get our basic cockpit setup going here. So external power is available. We'll go ahead and click that on, and we'll click both the batteries on as well. And then we'll just kind of run flow from the top left through the rest of the panel, make sure everything is set. So our adheres on the top left here, these guys can all three come to the nav position here. Everything else here looks good. Crew supply, oxygen, we can turn that on. Fuel pumps, I'm going to leave those off because we're going to refuel the airplane. So we'll leave them off for now. Everything else here looks to be in good position in terms of lights. Nav and logo lights can come on, as well as emergency exit lights can be armed. No portable electronics. We can turn that switch on. Seatbelts will stay off until fueling is completed. Everything else looks to be pretty much set where it should be for now. This can change to hectopascals. We use the magic barrel key and set the QNH there. So we'll jump over and get the EFBL set up as well. I did plan the flight with SimBrief, so we'll go ahead and load that in right there. Looks like our flight time is just around 2 hours or so. Block time, I suppose, from gate to gate there, so not too long down to Salzburg. We've got our OFP here, so we'll go ahead and take a look at everything here. So that's 19th of January, Liverpool down to Salzburg. A321neo as well, and like I said, easy 3487. I got information here, cost index of 53, and a total distance for us today of 707 miles in the air. So flight level plan today is flight level 350, taking 7.3 tons of fuel, and that's in kilograms. The rest of this we'll look at, we'll load our payload in a second, but zero fuel weight 71.5 out of 75.6 max, so relatively heavy, but not completely loaded down. As we do have a forecast here for Salzburg, so it does look like there is a chance for that that weather, at least temporarily, in these blocks. Looks like it may be deteriorating further, so it may be interesting for us by the time we get down there. Winds are expected to stay relatively northerly as well, so we will certainly see what it's like, see if we can make it in there. In terms of other weather conditions, we look at our weather maps here. Not really expecting any areas of turbulence. Looks like those are mostly away from our flight plan, and not looking like we're going to have super strong winds. We're not right in a jet stream, however, it looks like we're going to carry a tailwind down, so that should keep our flight time nice and low. Alright. And then here's our routing, if you guys do want to take a look at the route here. Planning runway 33 at the moment. So I'm just curious to see. That's actually pretty low, minimums of 379 feet. There, so that's not too bad. 3-degree glide path. 834. Cool. We obviously have circling. That's not going to be a good option for us given the weather. And this RNP approach doesn't really work for us. We're going to be coming from the north anyways, so that wouldn't really make sense. Same with a visual approach. It's probably not going to be the best for us depending on the weather conditions. So because the minimums for that are quite a bit higher. So we'll probably plan the RNP Yankee and see how that works out for us. If not, like I said, we could always do the ILS with a tailwind. It's not too big of a tailwind. Look at our airport page here. We got 9,000 foot runway, so that's relatively long. We could certainly make that work with a tailwind. So we'll take possibly a look at the weather in flight and see if we need to make any changes to that. But we'll go and get GSX going as well. We're going to go ahead and get catering service going. Meanwhile, down here, we'll go ahead and get fuel and such loaded. I need to switch this. Oops, wrong setting here. 2 kilograms. Cool. So we're going to drag this down because we would not have that much. Oh wait, how much fuel do we have on the airplane? Looks like, yeah, it looks like we're going to actually have almost enough. So fueling shouldn't be too long for us. So 7,364 kilograms. So we'll go and load that in. 7,364. Just 5 minutes for refueling there. I do have it set to route time. So we'll begin that payload as well. Take a look at our zero fuel weight here on the OFP. 71.5. So 71,500 pounds, and I have that set to instant just because the GSX boarding doesn't seem to play well with it. So I just load it in this way, and then I will do the GSX boarding kind of on the side. So that is all set. Catering vehicles, you can see there, are on their way, should be arriving at the aircraft very shortly. For those of you wondering, I do have some traffic running here. That is FSLTL traffic, which is provided on the fly-by-wire A321neo launcher, if you'd like to download that. I have a mixture of static traffic and live traffic. Actually, I can take a peek here. These are what my settings are for it. So I have 8 out of 10 here for the airline part, kind of static traffic, and just 7 out of 200 on the IFR flight limit. So there are some moving traffic, but very little. I find that if you do too much of that, it just is absolute chaos. You get constant go-rounds and crazy stuff happening, so I keep it nice and low. So we get a moving aircraft every now and then, but most of them are just static to kind of fill up the airport terminals. So you can see catering's arriving at the airplane. We'll go ahead and kind of start getting stuff set up here in the MCDU. So we'll head to the ASUS and AOC menu here, and we'll do our init. This will pull our sim brief data in to the MCDU, and we're also going to pull out a weather request here for Liverpool. Oops. And we'll send that off and print it out just so we can have that for reference as we get the airplane set up. So that'll pop through in just a second. So we're here on the messages received page. There it is. And we can go ahead and print. And we'll let that print, and then we can click on it. And it'll pop down here so we can view that. So current weather conditions 240 at 6 on the winds. Clouds and visibility okay. 01 temperature -2 dew point QNH 1018, which matches what we have loaded in there. So that looks good. RS aligning just has 1 more minute. So we'll go ahead and get started here. Go back to the menu and FMGC, and we'll start getting everything loaded here. So active nav database expires the 24th of January, so that is active. We're at A321 with the LEAP 1A32 engines. That all looks good. Head to the init page here, and we'll pull an init request here, load in the flight plan. Load in our alternate. Not the best at the codes. I believe that's Vienna. It is indeed Vienna. So that'll be our alternate in the case that we could not make it into Salzburg, but we'll do our best certainly to make it in there. So so that's loaded in. I'm going to actually take this time currently and go ahead and load in our initial winds here for climb, cruise, and we'll go ahead and do descent as well. And then our init B page, we'll fill this out once the airplane is fueled and loaded and we have our official numbers. We actually can go ahead and load in our zero fuel weight since we have the airplane loaded there. We'll wait on the block fuel. Head to the flight plan page here. We'll load in our departure. So head back to our OFP and our route here. So we're the Barton 1 Tango departure, runway 27. So 27, Barton 1 Tango, and we'll insert that. We'll pop down here. That's going to create a discontinuity. We'll clear that out. And the planned arrival is the Badit 2 Romeo. And we'll plan for, where's my chart? That's what I'm looking for. We'll plan for the RNAV Yankee, runway 33, Badit 2 Romeo. And we want that approach. Let's actually take a look here real quick. Oops. I just don't want to be a Navigraph. So SBG is the last fix on our Star. Cool, so we will probably take initial approach fix for 1.5, so it doesn't really matter, but it probably makes the most sense for us to just head straight in. We'll do 8 WSE 31. I think that'll make sense for us. No transitions there. Insert that. Cool. RSs are aligned, so we can go ahead and go into the plan page here, and we'll take a peek at that route. So I'll zoom us in here, and we'll kind of step through this. So we have our right turnout on the SID. Don't have any discontinuities there. Then we will head off to the southeast. So those are actually very close to one another. So then let's just do this. We actually don't need that fix in, so we're gonna clear that discontinuity. Then we're gonna clear that initial fix out. That'll work just fine. And then we'll clear that discontinuity. So we'll just have us connecting directly to that approach, and we'll circle around for the landing. So we'll see how the airplane kind of handles that whole situation. Hopefully it'll work out well for us. Cool. So that all looks good on the flight plan page. Excuse me. Let's see if the airplane is done fueling, and we'll go and actually start the GSX boarding process as well. Fueling is completed. We do have 7,360 kilograms on board. One thing I actually didn't look at is what that actually includes. 15 minutes contingency, 37 minutes over to Vienna. Let's actually add a little bit extra fuel on. We'll take 8,000 kilograms, so we'll add a little extra on. We can certainly handle it, and just for dealing with whatever missed approach holding to get into to Vienna. So I will take a little extra fuel on for the weather conditions. You can see our passengers are starting to board the aircraft, and baggage should be on the way as well. 216 passengers on board with us today. Let's take a quick peek at our route actually while the airplane's finished fueling. So here we are in Liverpool. For departure, we're planning runway 27. We're at this gate here, 52, so we'll push back this way. We'll just take taxiway Alpha all the way to the end. After departure, be a right turn over the Mersey River there, out over the town or city of Liverpool. Climbing out generally eastbound here, then make a turn southeast bound, crossing the UK. And pass just over Amsterdam, the Netherlands there, before crossing over parts of Germany, and then heading south down towards Austria. And as you can see here, got terrain kind of both sides here in the Salzburg area, so our instrument approach is going to come and circle right around this direction, and hopefully we'll be able to make it down okay. But we shall see. Alright, fuel's loaded, fuel on board 8,000 kilograms. So that's verified. So we'll go ahead and throw that in our block, and we'll let the MCU do its calculations here. Alright, that all looks good. Minimum destination fuel on board that we want to have is 2.2 kilograms, or 2.2 tons, I should say. That'll be enough to have us do a missed approach and then get to Vienna if we would need to do so. Alright, performance page here. I don't have an accurate performance calculator for the A321, so we'll just kind of wing it here. It's generally pretty good at calculating those numbers for us. We'll just do toga. We won't do a flex temp or anything. So we'll toga. It's flaps 1 departure. Trim. Shouldn't have to worry about it on Airbus. It kind of does it automatically, and we don't have a calculator for it. V1 gives us 146, VR 147, V2 of 151, transition altitude 5,000 feet. So that all looks good. RadNav page, we have the ILS loaded in. For the departure, front course tracking there is back up. Make sure you have the fuel prediction. We already double checked. That is all in. Perf page here. We'll head to climate phase, managed to 250. Cruise, I might pre-select here because it hasn't been working with SimBrief exactly, so we're going to check our cruise speed. Looks like we want Mach 7.9 up at flight level 350. So we'll pre-select Mach 7.9 for our cruise, and descent and approach. We'll deal with that all later. So that's pretty much the MCDU finished. Something I do want to do is scroll down, and we're going to check that approach and see if it's looking like it can make all the altitude restrictions and such, or see if we need to make any changes. So we'll go ahead and pull that approach up. We'll go ahead and pin it. So basically we want to be at 5,000 from this point, and then starting at this point is our 3-degree flight path angle descent all the way in. So we can actually, we may just do it with the bird, as they call it, the flight path angle mode on the autopilot. The A321 will want to be fully configured by this point here at landing speed, gear down, flaps down, all of that, and then have it start that descent as we make the turn. But it may work a little better this way because I have had some issues with the actual VNAV. It's loading in the 3-degree glide path. Alright, though, 834. It's at 4,890, which we should probably still be at 5,000. So, I don't know. We'll play with it and we'll see what happens. But generally, that all looks fine for now. So. That's for the most part pre-flight stuff complete. However, we will make sure everything is set here, and we'll grab our SID here and we'll brief that. Transition altitude to 5,000. We're going to get our cruising level from Scottish Control, but we're not going to be using ATC today. So routing altitude, we're climbing straight ahead at 1.5 DME, which will be on the front course of the localizer. We're going to turn right to a 018 track. We're going to intercept the 079 radial from the Wallasey VOR. And then we'll cross 10 DME from that VOR, which is right here at 3,000, maximum 4,000. We'll be at 4,000 at 16 DMA, at 4,000 at Barton here. So we may forego some of those restrictions and just get the airplane climbing since we're not using air traffic control, but that's what we'll plan to do. So we do want to make sure real quick actually that we have that VOR loaded as well, which we do, and then we'll get everything loaded here. So both VORs on both sides. The flight directors are on. We'll take constraints. Their initial climb 4,000 feet, so we'll load that in. Constraints over here, and both VORs on as well. So that is good. Looks like baggage loading is finishing up as well. So it looks like pretty shortly here we'll be on our way, headed out to Salzburg. So I'll let GSX finish up what it's going to do, and then we'll be back shortly for pushback and departure. Alright everyone, welcome back. So GSX has finished boarding, everything is all good to go there. So we'll run through our quick checklist here, excuse me. Get the airplane all set up. So gear pins and covers has been removed. Fuel quantity is checked. Seatbelt sign, I went ahead and flipped that on because fueling is completed. Adheres are nav, bear reference, both of those are checked. For start checklist, park and brake is on. Takeoff speeds and thrust is set. Windows are closed. We got the beacon on just before pushback. We'll head back to the overhead here. And we will pressurize the fuel pumps because we're all fueled and we're about ready for pushback here, and then we'll go ahead and start the APU. So master switch comes on, wait a couple seconds, and we'll start up the APU and get that going so we can disconnect ground power for pushback. And we will go ahead and request pushback and departure. We're going to skip de-icing today. This is not expected to be encountering any sort of precipitation or visible moisture here on departure, so that won't be an issue for us. And no GSX, will not be waiting till after pushback to start our engines because that's not really a procedure that happens in the real world, so we're not going to do that. Alright, APU is now available, so we can go ahead and get the APU bleed on. You can hear that come alive, and we'll disconnect the external power as well. Pushback is just about to be ready. Strobe light can go on auto, beacon light will come on as we prepare for pushback here. And for some reason, there goes the door. I was going to say it didn't look like it was doing automatically, but there it goes.
Locking gear.
Finish our checklist real quick. Begin is done. Checklist complete. And next to go is after start. Alright, so we do want to push back facing south, so we'll do that. Make sure everything is clear. It is, so we will go ahead and release park and brake, and we can start on pushback. Go ahead and run the clock over here, start counting our block time, and we'll go ahead and get the engine started. So verify here, APU is on, APU bleed is started, so that is good. Beacon's on. Turn the ignition over to start, and we'll start up number 2. I've got over here at the ECAMs, got N2 movement as well as N1. We're going to see the EGT just barely rising right now, and then shortly we'll see this fuel flow come in. There comes the fuel flow. EGT rising, watching for that to jump way up into a hot start, just making sure that doesn't happen. Looks just fine right now.
Please set parking brakes.
Can hear the PTU from the cabin, and pushback's complete, so we'll set those parking brakes. Got engine 1, or excuse me, engine 2 available, so we'll start number 1. Remember the same things, you should see N2 rising, N1 slowly rising, and EGT as well, very slowly right now until fuel flow is introduced. There comes that fuel flow. Chicken for hot starter, hung start.
Tow truck disconnected. Bypass pin removed. Left is clear. Right is clear.
Cool. So we got a good start on both engines. So with that being said, APU bleed come off, APU can come off as well. Go ahead and get the nose light taxi, turn off lights can come on as well. Engine mode selector back to normal. We're going to take predictive wind shear on, we'll arm the speed brake. So we'll come over here. I'm going to go ahead and flip our transponder to auto and TRA. We'll just get that over with now. Auto brake to max. Flaps 1 is set and moving. Anti-ice, we won't need no visible moisture cam status. We'll go ahead and hit the, if I can see, we'll go ahead and hit the status page there. Everything looks normal there. Pitch trim we're not going to worry about, as with the rudder trim. Move on to the taxi checklist. Radar predictive wind shear ready got, engine mode selector, flaps is set, and we will do our flight control check. If I can find it, there it is right there. Gonna do it from the FO side here. So elevator full up, full down and neutral, ailerons full left, full right and neutral, and rudder full right, full left and neutral. So flight controls are checked, and ECAM memo will be takeoff no blue shortly. And we'll go ahead and do RTU config there. We'll test that's normal, and we'll check the cabin a little bit closer to departure. I don't think I have Simlink loaded. We'll load that up so we can see our aircraft position on the charts here. Cool. There we are, so we're going to head out Tango here, left turn on Alpha, all the way down, hold string at Alpha 1 for departure. And we are ready to go. Parking brake is coming off. Alright, and we are good to go. Looks like the approach path is clear. Look like we're gonna have to worry about anyone landing on top of this. As we get the airplane spin around here, crossing the whole short line. get our landing lights on, and TO and strobe. All to the on position. We're going to come to a quick stop on the runway, complete our checklist before we start rolling. Alright, take off one runway 27 as verified TCAS is on. Packs 1 and 2, we'll go ahead and flip those off, and that completes our checklist. So pack 2, pack 1 off for departure. That's completed. Go ahead and start the clock, and we'll get on out of here. Increase the throttles got in reverse somehow there. Increase throttles to 50%. Hold center line here, little forward pressure on the stick. 50% stable, and toga. We have man toga SRS and runway. Auto thrust is blue. Airspeed's alive. Hold that center line. There's 100 knots. Neutralize the stick. V1 and rotate. Slowly lift that nose off. Positive rate of climb. Gear can come up. Pitch for that flight director. Look at that. This sim is amazing. Make sure we're still flying the airplane though. Alright, we'll set climb power. Thrust climb. Managed. There's 4,000. We got a level off there. There's S speed. Flaps can come up. We're a little late on our turn. I've also noticed this airplane isn't the greatest at following the LNAV profile, but we will deal with it. Go ahead and stick autopilot on here. EP2 is on. We'll go ahead and start our climb. This point up to flight level 350. We'll go open climb. So thrust climb, open climb. There's Liverpool Airport back there. Flaps are up, but we'll go ahead and clean up the airplane. Spoilers come back. Lights, we'll go ahead and take the nose and the turn-offs off. And landing lights can stay on for now. Here comes transition level. We'll go ahead and set standard on that as well. really like the sky textures after the latest sim update. I think they made some good changes to them. They look really, really nice. That's incredible right there. Alright, there's above 10,000 feet. Airplane's accelerating now. Above 10,000, portable electronics can become usable. We'll switch that off. For whatever reason, the flight plan will probably load in the cruise speed from SimBrief like it will, like the Phoenix and whatever. I don't know if that's a fly-by-wire thing or just due to how the Horizon simulations was kind of merged together with the fly-by-wire. So we'll have it do it that way. But we're on our way. I'm gonna climb up to cruise altitude now. I won't bore you with the rest of the climb portion because we're basically just going to sit here and monitor the aircraft and its climb and the cruise portion. So we'll jump back in just prior to our descent once we've made our final decision on our arrival and approach procedures into Salzburg and have another look at the weather. So I'll leave you with a few images of the cruise portion of the flight, and then be back with you shortly. Hello everyone, welcome back. We are currently still in the cruise here. As you can see, we've been in the air just about 1 hour and 9 minutes. Coming up on our top of descent here in just about probably 10 minutes or so. You can see we're just about 100 miles from it there on the ND. So we'll go ahead and take a look at everything, make sure that our descent preparations and approach is all loaded in. First things first was over here to the EFB, and we'll take a look at the weather. This weather came out just a little while ago. Winds are still out of the north, so we'll still be landing runway 33. Weather has cleared up just a little bit. Visibility has cleared out, and there's no snow reported. So it seems like we're in a temporary break, at least for now, and that snow showers and the clouds are raised up a little bit. So it's not looking like we're going to have too big of a problem getting in on that RNP approach for runway 33. So that's what we're going to plan to do, but we'll make sure everything's loaded into the MCDU properly. So I'm going to do a quick double check, make sure you've got runway 33, and then we'll do another double check here, just making sure the waypoints match up. Let's go back over to Navigraph here. So we're from the SPG VOR to WS 833, and then WS 834 will be 5,000. So what I'm actually going to do is having this be a little bit lower than that, but I just want to be at 5,000 there, so let's see if we'll accept that. It's not really, it's taking the constraint here and not on there, so I'm still having some issues with it here, but that should work out. We'll have our MCP set to 5,000, so that shouldn't be an issue. And then from that point we'll start our 3-degree glide path. One thing we do need to change, if we can get it to do so, is the speed there. It's max 145 on the approach, but we want to be fully configured for landing starting here when we start that 3-degree glide path, or else it's not going to work out as well for us. It'll be a little harder to manage, so we'll just be fully configured for that turn. So we'll take a look at our approach phase, and as of now it could change a little bit, but our our approach speed is looking like 142 with flaps full. So what we will do is we'll go back here, and we want to be slowed down to 142. We'll be at 5,000 feet there, and then it should copy that 142 down to the rest of it. So that'll at least help the VNav out a little bit with us getting slowed down at the proper time. But we will probably be flying kind of on our own, not just on the VNav by that point, because we'll plan to be level at 5,000 prior to that point. In fact, let's take a look here. We want to just, it's saying 5,000 feet here as well, so let's see. Once again, it may not accept the constraint here, but I'd like it, yeah, okay, I'd like it to get us to 5,000 there, so it'll give us time to slow down and configure before we start that turn. So that all looks good. Next step for us is to enter our destination data. Still a few minutes more from top descent, so we've got some time here. So into that destination data, QNH currently in Salzburg is 1015. Temperature is -2, and the wind is 310 at 6. So -2 in the temperature, 310 at 6. And the wind's transition altitude is 11,000 feet. And we'll head back to Navigraph real quick. Our baro minimums for this approach is 1,790, so we'll load that in as well on the baro. So that is destination stuff all complete. Still planning to have plenty of fuel on board the airplane, so if we did have to go mist or divert, we've got plenty of fuel to handle that, but shouldn't have to. We'll go ahead and brief the approach real quick, just talk through it here. So it is 12-21 is the chart, effective the 30th of December. We've got our frequencies there at the top. Final approach course is just this little section here. Once we turn on the final is 333 right there, and we're expected to get our initial approach fix right there at 5,000 feet. Minimum is 1,790, which is 379 feet above the ground, like we just talked about. Airport elevation 1411. Notes here, we just want to check and make sure there's nothing significant that could potentially kill us on the approach that we need to be worried about. So we need to have dual GNSS, which is GPS, and at least once inertial reference unit, which are our ADIRS on the Airbus required, so we have those. For uncompensated baro VNAV systems, we do have a compensated VNAV, and our temperature's not below -15 anyway, and then this just about the high mountainous terrain, obviously to the south and southeast of the airport, and southwest as well. Cool, and then let's see, it's 2.5 degrees if we're above 50 degrees Celsius, which probably isn't even possible in Salzburg, so nothing there to worry about. Let's see where we get 5,000 at this fix right here, and then we're intercepting that 3-degree glide path at this fix here as we make that turnaround for the runway. Be interested to see how it handles that 3-degree glide path in the turn. We'll see how that works out. But everything else generally looks good on that approach. So we'll see how the airplane handles it. Take a look at the arrival real quick now as well. So we're going to be above 4,000 at Addons, but on our approach, our altitude is actually 5,000. So since we don't have any other altitude restrictions to keep in mind on our arrival, we'll just go ahead and set our altitude up here, which let's bump this up a little bit. We'll set our altitude up here just to that 5,000 mark, since we don't have air traffic control or any other restrictions to keep in mind. So that is all set, and we are at this point just about ready for descent. So I'll probably configure the airplane, get it descending, get us headed towards Salzburg, and then we'll be back with you guys for the approach and landing. So see you in a minute. Welcome back, everyone. We're well on our way down towards Salzburg now. We are passing, just about to pass, as you say, flight level 180. So far, the airplane is maintaining the VNAV profile pretty darn well. So as of now, we're just gonna let it do its thing. Let it do its thing, and we'll keep monitoring it. Make sure we don't have to intervene or anything. But we've got the airplane a little set up. Fasten seatbelt sign has come on at this point for the remainder of the flight. And the terrain radar set up on the navigation display here, so we can monitor that for the approach. But other than that, it's been a pretty uneventful approach so far. Go ahead and get started with our checklist here for the approach checklist. Our ref is, well, technically those aren't set. I guess we shouldn't check it yet. In fact, we'll double check the weather. 1016 is what we're expecting. So we'll hold off on that until transition altitude. Seatbelts are on. Minimums are set. Auto brake, I've set medium auto brake. Engine mode selectors are normal. So just waiting on the bear reference. Once we pass transition altitude. Weather still looks pretty decent, actually. Still just a couple kind of few and scattered cloud layers, no snow, no visibility issues, so looking like it's going to end up being a hopefully pretty uneventful approach into Salzburg. If we zoom in here on our navigation display, we can see the SBG VOR up here, which is the termination point of our star, and then we're making our left turn off to start the approach. So after we pass this fix, we're going to go ahead and make sure the airplane is completely configured for landing. So we'll activate approach phase, get the airplane slowed down, get flaps out to full, gear down, landing checklist complete at that point. So the airplane's all configured, and we're staying focused on the approach. to land. So I do have, just purchased it actually, I do have Rex AccuSeason installed and running just on kind of the auto mode. So that's doing a little bit to the textures to kind of make them feel a little more wintry. It doesn't look like we've got any snow actually on the ground, since the sim isn't detecting snow in the area at the moment. But it certainly seems to help with the terrain kind of fitting the season a little bit better. So that's looking good so far. Looks like we're going to arrive on time. In fact, we'll see, may end up a tad early on the block time of 2 hours 10 minutes, but we'll see once we're down there on the ground. Just about approaching 10,000 feet above airport elevation at just about 11,500. So once we reach that altitude, we'll go ahead and flip our landing lights on, as well as the portable electronics switch will come to the on position as well. And we'll go ahead and start configuring that now. So landing lights can come on, and I will take the nose light on as well. The turn-offs, we'll go ahead and wait until we're cleared to land. We don't have ATC on board, but we'll do that. Once we're configured on the approach. Portable electronics can come on, and we're just now passing transition altitude, so we can set QNH 1016. We'll verify that, and bear reference is set. Approach checklist complete. Landing checklist to go. Not too worried about speed here, because we're going to have this whole section to kind of have the airplane nice and slowed down. It's slowing down to 250 now as well. We may take so your maximum flap extension for flaps 1 is 243 knots, so we may at some point take flaps 1. We can also take the gear if we need, because you can see our maximum gear extension speed for extension is 250 knots. But the airplane's even a little bit below glide path, so I don't think we'll have too many issues getting all slowed down here. A little tighter. Actually, I think I'm going to go ahead and see if we can bring that speed back so we can get a notch of flaps out below 243. We'll take flaps 1. We'll go ahead and start bringing the speed back a little early here, just to make sure we got enough time. That's not a super long kind of leg here, so I want to make sure we do give ourselves enough time. So I'm actually going to bring speed back to 220. We'll use a little speed brake here just to help us out. We can see flap extension for flaps 2 is 215, so maybe we'll do 210. And we might just go ahead and go the vertical speed mode as well, just so you can see if we can get down to It's altitude a little bit early. So there's 210, we can go ahead and go flaps 2. And we can take the speed brakes out since our plane is sufficiently slowed down there. Just want to make sure we have plenty of time to get all configured, so we're not messing with that when we need to get the airplane down on the approach here. Swing that vertical speed back just a tad. We're a little bit below profile, but we just have the restriction of above 4,000 at SBG, which we're just nearing now. Here comes the turn. And now that we're heading to our initial approach fix, I'm going to go ahead and activate approach phase. That'll set our landing speed for us. And we'll go ahead and bring it back now to 180 knots. There's 5,000 feet. So we got down just before we wanted to, and that'll give us a couple stutters there. That'll get us ample time to slow the airplane, configure it all up for the approach here. I'm going to go ahead and bring speed further back here just so we're ahead of the airplane here, and we'll go ahead and drop the landing gear. Take flaps 3. There's LDev there, turning on to the approach. That's actually, it's not arm approach mode for us. We'll see if we can get that to work here. Alright, we're just about 5 miles from the beginning of our descent. So we're going to take flaps full, we'll manage the speed, we'll arm the speed brake, nose light will come on, we'll call the cabin. Auto brake is set, and we are fully configured. We're going to see the airport just off our right hand side. And now we're going to go ahead and switch to the bird here, and we'll pre-select. Actually, we'll hold off on that because it'll auto reset if you do it too early here. Actually, we'll take our altitude down to minimums of 1790, so 1800. It's just about 2 miles prior, we'll pre-select our flight path angle of 3 degrees. See, it's not going to do approach mode for us, that's right. Alright, 3 degrees. And then we're going to pull and activate flight path angle mode when we're about 0.3 miles from the beginning of our descent here. It's 0.7, 0.6, 5, 0.4, and 0.3. We'll go ahead and pull it. Airplane takes a second to get started on that descent. So that's why we pull it just slightly early. 2470 feet when we reach this fix, so we'll double check our altitude there, and we can adjust our flight path angle in very small increments in order to hit those fixes if need be. Got the airport right off our right side there. There's 2,500 on the radio altimeter. You definitely see some snow showers off this stretch. Looks like we might have just snuck in time to beat that weather. I was mistaken. That is the height of that obstacle there. That's not telling us. It doesn't actually give us altitudes at our fixes here to cross-check. But so far it looks to have maintained that flight path angle well. It looks like we're probably at a proper altitude here. So I see no reason to adjust anything at this point in the approach. We'll let it spin us around, and then we'll disconnect the autopilot once we got the runway in sight towards our final approach. Have our ECAM up there for landing, and no blue, so landing checklist is complete. Apparently thinks it's struggling just a little bit on flight path angle on the turn here.
You
can see the runway coming into view out there. It does feel to me like we're probably a little bit low. In fact, since we do have the runway in sight, I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the autopilot now, and we'll follow that turn around, but I'm going to kind of slow down our descent here because I do believe we are just a tad low. And yeah, we got just 4 reds, 3 reds, 1 white there. So we'll keep the turn coming. We'll stop that descent rate a little bit. Come up to our minimums here.
$100 above.
There's 100 above minimums.
400.
Disregarding everything, focus on the PAPIs now.
Minimum.
There's minimums, continue, runways in sight. Tiny bit low, making a very small correction. That's fine at this point.
50, 40, 30, 20, retard, 10, 5.
And we're down. Auto brake's gonna slow us down. We got reverse screen, spoilers. Not hardly even gonna need the reverse there. We'll go ahead and go manual braking. And we'll take reverse out there. So that ended up working out really well for us. I'll switch over to Navigraph real quick and get the airport chart up. And we'll taxi down. We'll take our next exit. I do need to restart GSX real quick. I tend to close it down because I found that sometimes for for whatever reason, it can kind of cause some stuttering on touchdown, so I close it down and then restart it once we're on the ground. Go ahead and hit the chrono there to stop that. Spoilers, get rid of those. We'll take our next left turn here. We're going to taxi back to the terminal on the left side here. Flaps can go ahead and come up. I'll switch over to the left seat for the taxi. Next runway here, landing lights can come off, and we'll go to taxi on the nose light, and we'll hopefully not exit the taxiway. Alrighty, and we'll go ahead and start the APU. Strobe light can come back to auto as well. Alright, now I'll pull up GSX and we'll see if we can get a gate. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and turn off. We'll just exit out of it, FSLTL, because it looks like got too much static traffic and the gates are all full, so we'll have to get rid of that for the time being. And we'll take 4 whiskey. Oops, which should be right in this area there. AP's available, go and flip the bleed on. Enter the ramp area here. Don't need that nose light anymore, so we will kick that off. Hopefully I loaded the proper parking spot. It looks like I don't see GSX loaded in. Or no, oh, there it is. I'm just blind. So there's Whiskey 3, so it should be this next left turn for us, or right turn, excuse me. Yep, Whiskey 4, so we'll start spinning the airplane around. There's our marshaller. Too much power there. Alright, we're stopped. Set the parking brake. Engines can come off. We'll go and request boarding. Seatbelts can come off. Beacon lights can come off. We'll take ground power and get rid of the APU. And with that, fuel pumps as well can come off. Train GPWS can come back on. And other than that, everything looks pretty good. I'm going to jump back outside of the airplane. Let GSX do its thing. Forgot to stop the clock there. So we were 1 hour 48 minutes in the air, 2 hours 2 minutes block time, so just about 8 minutes early, or at least 8 minutes quicker than block into Salzburg here. So luckily ended up being pretty decent on the weather. Looks like we just kind of missed out on some of those snow showers. It ended up working out pretty well for us. So thank you guys very much for tuning in. As always, I really appreciate it. Feel free to leave feedback in the comments. Also, certainly open for suggestions of videos of routes or aircraft potentially that you'd like to see. Always open for that. So just let me know, and I will see you guys next time.